Welcome back, everybody, to another GTA 5 racing event with this guy. Also with me today are my two good friends, Squishy Shadow and Big Lebowski. Today we are racing the top 6 sports cars, non-HSW variants. I'm in the Banshee GTS. There's going to be the Itali GTO, the Itali RSX, the Stinger TT, the Pariah, and the Niobe. This first track has more turns than straights, so it's kind of testing out speed versus acceleration and basically handling. It is called Watkins Glen. It's by RRJP, and I will leave a link to it in the description below for Social Club. The second track we are doing is less curves, more straights, more like a raw power versus this track, which is more of a handling and acceleration type track. We only tested out the sports cars because, unlike HSW, you can only run sports against sports unless it's obviously a transform race. So this track was raced against the Banshee, the Pariah, and the Itali GTO. The last two were always the top dogs for the longest time. On this track, the GTS definitely suffers when it comes to mildly on acceleration and handling. It kind of has a steering issue, not full steering issue, but it kind of does have like a stickler trying to turn left or turn right sharply. So kind of have to like feather the gas on some parts of the race altogether. But when it does suffer, the Pariah still dominates barely, but it will still dominate, and the GTO is right along with you. Like always. So, this one is called Quiptown. It's by Techno Assassin. Once again, I will leave a link to the description below to this track. What this car is going to excel in is the overall top speed, the Banshee GTS. Again, this is non-HSW, but it will still excel in that top speed part of the race. So it's going to line up with the Pariah more for top speed, and then it doesn't necessarily have the acceleration, but it does have the overall raw power and speed. So this race is pretty much a Pariah versus Banshee. And the reason why we want these two tracks, I've used these two tracks before in the last DLC, is again, the first track will showcase handling and acceleration, stuff like that, more turns than straights. And then this one will be more just a raw power type track. Minimal turns, but a lot more straights. And we wanted to showcase two different versions of them as well. Just want to note here, at the end of the race, you will see the Banshee GTS is catching up to the Pariah. So maybe on a different race, the Banshee is probably going to beat the Pariah, possibly. As well as it's probably going to depend on the driver as well, too. Just wanted to point that out. Alright, next two races up here are the next three set of cars for the top 6 sports cars in our opinion. So we have the Itali RSX, which is what I'm in right here, and there is going to be the GTO Stinger TT, and then the Niobe. Again, you're only going to see it from my viewpoint, but the Itali RSX has a problem with a back end drift, or like, you know, getting loose on the back end. Again, showcasing a more turns than straights here, so it's just more about the acceleration and the handling. The GTO Stinger kind of is behind on all this here, unfortunately. The Stinger excels in HSW. When it's HSW, it excels greatly. Fortunately, the GTO is like a boat, and it just doesn't have. It's like a very weighted car. It just doesn't have the oomph to get there. And then obviously the Niobe does excel well in HSW and non-HSW. It's just an overall all-around good car. And so Big Lebowski was driving the Niobe, and he had stated multiple times that he hardly ever had to really let off in any of the corners except for this chicane coming up right here. Other than that, he could just hold down the gas almost the entire time and never really had to let off. So pretty crazy when it comes to that car. This car, on the other hand, feels like a handful. It kind of reminds me of, I love the RSX, don't get me wrong, but it definitely reminds me of like when the Italy GTO first came out. It's very loose, kind of a handful at sometimes, but it does do well in between cars as well for the time like that right there. Comes in the middle, more closer to the GCO TTT time than the Niobe, of course. And then the second race here again is Quiptown by Techno, and again it's going to be Niobe versus RSX pretty much, and then the TT is slower, but still it's catching up here. So on this track, the TT is going to excel in top speed. The RSX is just a handful, and damn that wall. I hit that wall so many times on this track. But, yep, Niobe still excels in that top speed. Stinger's going to excel in top speed. So, it's just the driver pretty much, or even, like I said, it's the car too. So, enjoy the rest of the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Just wanted to throw this out there. The next one, Friday, is going to be HSW testing with the top sports cars, the top muscle cars, and the top supercars. We didn't run the sports classics or the motorcycle. Motorcycle is just a motorcycle, and we wanted to test the cars. And then sports classics, they're just not fast enough. But yeah, so that'll be Friday. Again, enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, I guess give me a dislike. But if you see yourself coming around more often than not, consider subscribing, as it's free. But it also does give me support, the best support for my channel. That being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Enjoy the rest of the video. Peace.